Good morning, this is Doc T. This is just a quick overview for many of you as to what this next series upcoming is going to be about. Now, when we talk about mobility and flexibility, and I get that question often in my office and texts and emails, how do I get more mobile? How do I make more things more flexible? It's hard for me to answer that and say that in a simple sentence because the act of mobility in and of itself is affecting a functional chain. And what that means is, if I'm going to go to stretch my hamstring and I do it this way, right? Excuse me. I'm going to go touch my toes and I'm going to try to stretch this hamstring. Well, the problem is when I go to do this, I'm getting to my toes, I'm affecting the way my toes stretch, my arch, my calf, my hamstring, my hip, low back, mid back, and upper back, even my shoulder to a degree. So when I'm doing this stretch, I'm actually affecting the entire functional chain, not just my hamstring. So anywhere in your body that you're stretching, when I see people doing the hip flexor stretch or doing a lat stretch, excuse me, you have to remember that what you're actually stretching is the entire chain. And in some degrees, like the psoas stretch or the sofa stretch or the hip flexor stretch, where you get into a lunge position like this, and you do this stretch, there goes my head, like this, or you pull the foot off the ground. The problem is you're affecting an entire chain. It could be from the neck all the way down. In the hamstring stretch, for example, it's the entire posterior chain from the base of your neck all the way to the bottom of your toes. So when you're affecting all those joints and all that tissue, it's really hard to say, oh, my hamstrings are tight or my calf is tight. When I stretch this way, this happens. So all I want you to do is keep in mind that when you are stretching, it is a functional chain of events that's going on there. So you're going to end up finding yourself kind of stuck. And here's my recommendation, my advice for that always. If you're doing something and it's helping, quote unquote, it should be helping to the point you don't need to do it anymore. Or it becomes more of a maintenance versus a process that you're trying to fix something or change something. When tissue wants to change, it's going to change and you'll see the difference. You'll feel the difference if you're affecting the correct tissue that is causing your problem. So if you have a hamstring tightness in your mind, it feels tight, but your calves are actually causing the problem and you never stretch the calves, then what happens is you end up focusing on the hamstring or the hip, but you miss the calf. So you'll feel really good right after, next day it's the same. Really good right after, next day the same, and this will go on for weeks to months. So my recommendation is always this. Take this on, find what you feel that feels tight to you, take it on for about 2 weeks. You should have appreciable change in a 2-week window that you notice. Feeling less tight, actually being able to test it. So if I'm going to stretch this chain, regardless of what I think is the problem, if I'm here and I can't get any further, 2-3 weeks later I'm here or I'm touching, then yes, whatever I'm doing is actually helping this chain of events. Now, it still may not be a problem you need to focus on, right? It might just be a piece of the puzzle and there's more pieces you have to look at, but at least you know you're doing good work. Now, if you go 2-3 weeks and you're doing something and you're here and you're not changing at all, then we've actually caused a problem, okay? We're missing the point. And what happens then is you're mobilizing the wrong tissue, so you're making a tissue that probably is already mobile, more mobile, which makes it less stable, okay? So always keep in mind, when I'm working on something, whether it be lifting weights, dieting, stretching, mobility, whatever it may be, there should always be an obvious advancement in what you're doing within weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks max. If you're not seeing that, then whatever you're doing isn't working as well as it probably could. So, the series coming up next, we're going to start with self-assessments. We're going to start from, hence my sock is off, so you'll see me in a few seconds doing the same thing. I got the shoe off, we're going to start with the foot, actually the big toe, believe it or not. Work our way through the ankle, the knee, and all the way up the joints here into our head, and even our fingers. We're going to talk about a way you can self-assess, better understand where your limitation might lie. So instead of kind of arbitrarily doing mobility work or doing what somebody told you or something that you read, you can actually figure out what it is you need and focus on that. Again, this is Doc T. I will see you soon next time.